I know what you must be thinking. You're probably like, why am I still watching this? Well, you'd be quite right. I mean, come on. I've died 3 times, and by the way, this is a new seed, and I just don't know what to say at this point. But at any rate, I'm gonna keep going, and hopefully I will actually end up with a successful hardcore world at some point. So, obviously, I died in my last world, and it was really quite frustrating. So what happened was, we had just beaten the dragon. We didn't just beat it, we fist fought the dragon and won. And when I was heading to get an elytra, because I was the only one with ender pearls, I slipped and fell in the void. And that was it. That was the end of the world. I was... I mean, I lost everything. I lost my loot jars, I lost my wonky house. Everything's gone. Well, anyways, I guess there's not really any point in complaining about that. So I'm just gonna keep cracking on early game, and this time it's genuine early game, and hopefully get all geared up. Alright, so this is what I have to start with. I mean, I think you can tell right off the bat I've raided a village, but I'm pretty well off. I mean, it's not like last time where I had loads of iron, but I do have a decent amount of resources, and I actually do have a pretty good idea for a starter base, and it's interesting to say the least. Well, when I mean starter base, this is mainly just going to be a hut to get me through the first couple of days, but okay, I think I've proven by now that I'm a bot. I suck at this game. I'm not that good. I mean, I've died 3 times in Minecraft Hardcore. I mean, how much worse can it get? So so I'm gonna build a house that's fit for bots. I was gonna do the dirt hut and try to make it look nice, but I feel like that one's overused in a way. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make the house that's usually used in like thumbnail, like super noob versus god stuff, and it's like a house that's a bunch of different kinds of blocks all muddled together, but I'm gonna try to make it look nice. So first things first, I think I need to establish the base. I'm supposed to be building the base right now, but I got a bit sidetracked. I think I saw a small llama up there. It might have been a really big one and just looked small, but if there's a chance it's small, I need it. You're not small. I like this llama. Let me take it with me. Let me just make it so that it doesn't despawn. Shut up. Alright, he's my friend now, and he is my best friend, and I love him. Anyways, back to the base. As you can see, I'm kind of going for random blocks here. Ooh, sheep. Sheep have been a lifesaver so far, just because the fact that you can dye the wool and it's such an early game item. It just adds a nice pop of color to this house, because as you can see, some of the blocks can be kind of just boring. So this is what I got so far. I am trying to make the blocks a bit more interesting, I guess you can say. So I think that concludes like the width of the house. There is going to be a door here, but oddly enough, I am going to use a house design so the house looks strangely good, but it's going to be ugly at the same time. So you'll probably just see the finished result, because this isn't going to be my end base. Okay, so this is the finished product of my starter base. So basically this is just, it's pretty simple interior. I keep taking this flower out. It's just barrel wall mixed with furnace, and the furnace has shelves and a brewing stand which I nabbed from the village, my bed, and some nice flooring. As you can see, there are some mistakes, like this birch stripe right here, that's not supposed to be there, and this acacia stripe too. But other than that, it looks really good. And I think, yeah, I think I'll stay here for a couple nights. This isn't my finished base product, it's just I need a lot of resources for my next base, and it's going to require me to go to the nether. So I think this is going to be a nice start. Oh, also, quick side note, I caught my llama, and I put a little hat on him. He looks nice now. So the next thing I'm going to do is either set up a nether connection, or go mining, or maybe set up a small villager farm. Okay, I just came back from a little mining spree, and it was successful in a way. I've got some iron and some diamonds, which is nice, so we finally have time to set up a nether portal. And instead of setting it up near my base like I normally would, me and some other people around just decided to set it up here, over there in what's going to be like a little group meeting area. And I think that would be best, just because it's very notable and you could see it from very far away. So I think I'm going to go gather some obsidian and get started on that. Okay, so basically this is where we're going to be setting up the town center, which is where we're all going to kind of meet and just basically do everything that involves trading and just big, like, I guess, collaboration around the world. So usually we'd pick some place like Spawn or wherever we have the most villagers, but this time we decided to choose here because, as you can see, the tree, we're right under the very weird tree, and I just feel like that's a very fitting place to put a little meeting area. Now this one's going to be a bit different because last time it was really just a giant pen full of villagers. What I'm going to do this time is it's going to be kind of like a table where everybody puts like a chair on the table, and that's really it. It's a lot less complicated than it sounds, and it doesn't sound at all complicated. So basically I'm going to be making a chair here, and it's just going to, chill out in the front because I'm the first one who made it. So here's my chair, or at least the base of it. I am going to change it up in the future so that this banner is a different color, and it's just going to look a lot better, probably because I'm going to change this out because I just don't like this. So I'm going to finish this up and I will show you the completed result. Chair, I mean, it's pretty simple. It's just a slab with some signs, spruce trapdoor back, and a banner, and then I gave myself a nice little gold plate right here. And so basically it's a slab just so I could sit down and I'm level with the table. So that's just about sums up the chair. It's not that big of a project at all. And basically what's going to happen is everybody here, literally one other person, is going to put down a chair and just, I guess, make it their own. And they could put a gold pressure plate if they want it, but I'm not going to provide that. I'm the only one that can have a fancy plate. So I did make a pit stop in the Nether for some blackstone, and it's a really bad spawn as far as Nether goes. Like, the portal is on a floating island, and it's just not a good spawn. So I'll either build a second Nether portal somewhere else, or I'm going to try to find a fortress and secure that Nether portal. So I think the first thing I ought to do right now is probably actually start going for blaze rods just so I can get villagers, because that's a really nice early game thing to have. That way I can skip the mining process and just get lots of diamonds or diamond tools, because like I said before, my starter base is going to be fairly expensive, and I would like just to make it in this video, so I think I'm going to get that started now.
One eternity later.
The nearest fortress was about 500 blocks away, and it's actually right behind me, but I'm currently running from it with my 3 blaze rods. I did manage to establish some tunnels to it, kind of like my other fortresses, except this time I lined them with cobblestone, so I didn't risk getting blown up by a ghast and launched into the lava lake. But for now, this is enough to get me some villagers, and that's really all I'm worried about right now. Eventually, I will try and make a blaze farm, but not quite this second, maybe after I get some diamond gear. Okay, so right now I am just waiting out the clock because I have the cure, I'm all ready, I just need to wait till nightfall, which is going to be soon. But basically, before I catch the villager and cure him, I want to give you what I have of a game plan. So basically, I'm gonna, after the villager is cured and I get some better equipment, I'm gonna terraform this whole mountain so it kind of fits the house. It's a bit ugly and has some like different dirt and stuff like that. The reason is because I don't know how long it is gonna take for me to get into my next base, just because the size of the base plans I have. Like, they're gonna take me around the same time it took for my first mega base, and that one was pretty small for a mega base. Actually, it was really small, but it was still very large for a starter base. So both of them are going to be pretty big. So basically right now I just need to wait for the sun to set so I can catch me a zombie villager and stick them in there. And that's really it now that I think about it. I don't know why it seemed so complicated earlier. I've dealt with a lot of villagers over time, just with all the different like starter bases and stuff I've made. And this man right here, he takes the cake as the single most frustrating villager I've ever dealt with. He would not spawn easily, he would not cure easily, he wouldn't even go in this hole easily. He nearly killed me on multiple occasions. I've never had to deal with a villager this bad. Well, at least it's over, and I'm just gonna max out his trades simply so I could get a diamond tier, which I'm gonna assume is at the bottom. Yep, see. Okay, so I just finished trading with the villager, and he got me some pretty good stuff. An efficiency 2 diamond pickaxe, and a unbreaking 3 diamond shovel. And the next order of business is to make Ugly Mountain even uglier, and I'd say it's pretty ugly. Well, here it is. I mean, it's not much. I wasn't able to get too much complete, but I think it looks pretty good. So basically, we have a small farm over here for what's sugar cane and wheat. It's more for aesthetic, really. I have a small well, which is also only for aesthetic, considering it is not functional whatsoever. We also over here have what's gonna be an animal farm. I just don't have any animals to put in it, which is unfortunate, and I forgot to seal this off. But that just about sums up my starter base, I guess you could say. I really don't want to call it that, but like, at the rate this is going, this base is just going to grow so big that it is going to be my starter base. Oh boy. I want to build something else, but I really like this house. That's what's difficult. So, basically, I guess I'll just stay here for a little while, try to catch some animals, and maybe fix up my villager trades for a little bit. But I guess now would be time just after that just to finally build out that blaze farm like I said I would, but never did. So I decided to actually start building the blaze farm right now instead of trying to catch some animals. And so last time I built one of these, I showed a bunch of quick montages of how I built it and stuff like that. So instead, I think this time what I'm going to do is just show you guys how the farm's going to work in creative and then actually build it out and show you afterwards. So let me skip over to my creative world. Okay, so this is my blaze farm, and it's pretty simple. It's just got a blaze lock right here so it can't spawn blazes outside of there. And basically they fall through powdered snow so they have trouble getting out. And then they fall into a little trapdoor area. This would be replaced with slabs just so that the player doesn't get hit. But that essentially sums up the farm. The player is free to hit the blazes pretty much forever. And that's really it. So I'm gonna go build this in my survival world and I'll see you then. Okay, so the blaze farm is up and running. As you can see, it's not that pretty, but to be fair, on my last blaze farm I was digging a hole rather than floating in the middle of the air, so this is more functional than anything else. So basically what happens is the blazes in that spawner fall down, and that's basically it. It's not that complicated. Unfortunately, I couldn't find any powdered snow, so they can get out if they really wanted to, but I haven't really faced that problem yet. So what I'll probably do is I'll use this for a little while and see how successful it is. Alright, so I just finished with my blaze farm. It's not very efficient, but it's working a lot better than the other one I had. So, as I was doing that, I was thinking, I was like, I think it's about time I start talking about my next base plans. So basically, in the past, I've done like a bunch of starter bases really, and every once in a while a pretty decent sized base that I usually just called a base. Well, for this like hardcore series, I guess you could call it, my plan is to create a mega base, which is basically a base project that is going to take a little while, but it's going to be absolutely huge. Like, my plan is for my mega base to take over all of those plains. Well, maybe not all of it, but most of it. That's how big, like, that's the scale I'm talking about when I mean mega base. So really that's why I've been keeping it small with the starter base, is because I want to save my basically resources for said mega base. The good news is, though, the mega base is, well, I guess you could interpret this as good news. The mega base is not going to be starting till next week's video, or the next video, just because it's going to take a lot of time. It's going to be over the course of several different videos. So what I have planned for next Actually, I don't really have much planned for next now that I think about it. So I'm gonna think of what to do, and I'll see you then. Couldn't think of anything to do, so I just got my villager setup going. So basically, as always, cartographer, librarian, farmer, and toolsmith, just some nice starter ones. These two for emeralds, and then these two for more functionality. So I am pretty much all set up with these guys. He has mending, he's giving away food, he has diamond pickaxes, and he has glass to trade. So that's really it as far as they go. I will be getting some armor smiths soon. I just don't have the gold for it. So next I'm going to be going essentially just gold mining because I need the materials to keep making villagers so that I can get a better setup going. I lied. I decided not to go gold mining or anything of the sort. Instead, I'm over here breeding villagers from a nearby village to create an iron farm. Instead of getting full diamond, instead of trying to do any of that, I'm just going to go straight to getting an iron farm. Because on my last world, I was so used to having unlimited access to iron, and then on this one, we have almost zero. So I decided it'd be best just skip all this and just go straight to trying to get as much iron as possible early on. So this will be pretty much the first installation to my new mega base. It's going to go probably around here once I finish terraforming this and flattening this, and I'll put a nice design in it, and it'll obviously be a functioning iron farm. So first I'm going to work on fixing up the land so it's nice and flat, and then I'll move on to the actual farm. You might think I'm completely crazy, but I'm going to give up on this for the time being. I worked so hard on this, but I just can't seem to get it working. So I may try and fix this up in a future video, but I cannot get it working for any reason. So basically, it's just a bunch of villagers, and they're lined up in pods, and I'm gonna move some, well, I was gonna move some zombies in here, and the golems should have started spawning. But that didn't work out, and I cannot seem to find out how to make it work. So maybe in a future video I will research how to make an iron farm a bit better and just figure that out, but for the time being I think I'm actually going to gather materials and start working on the first part of my mega base. Okay, so I decided not to completely give up on the idea of the iron farm, so I ended up searching how to build one and actually building it, and this one is working so much better than the other one. So it's pretty simple, it's someone else's design, but I'm so glad about that I did this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to AFK here for about 30 minutes and see how well it works. I'm in the golem farm, and it has given me a pretty good product. I have been using a lot of it recently just to craft me new armor and stuff like that. As you may notice, I did go to my blaze farm and get fully enchanted for a pickaxe sword and another pickaxe just for fortune and silk touch, and that's really all I've done since. So I think as a little project I think I want to start now is to actually start decorating the golem farm just so that it looks nicer and it fits in with what's gonna be my mega base. So let me go get the materials for that. Well, I think I've spent enough time stalling. I think it's finally time that I just get cracking on what's going to be the first installation to my new mega base. So this is the completed iron farm. So basically, as you can see, I have a very poorly shaped iron ingot on top to signify that it is indeed an iron farm. Inside, I just have a water elevator to the best spot to just sit there and AFK, and then underneath, I just have a small door leading into my collection chamber. It's nothing special, but it is functional and it looks kinda good. My only complaint about it is lopsided. As you can see on these two sides, it is really lopsided, but that's just because of the shape of the farm. But if you go up here, you can't really notice. So that just about wraps up the farm, and as you could tell from what the build looks like, my mega base this time around will be a sort of futuristic alien base, sort of. And I think it's going to look great compared to some of the other stuff I've built. And so that just about wraps up all I have to do for the iron farm. Next, I am going to go, I guess, just find something else to do because I finished this far faster than I thought I would. I didn't know what to do, so I decided to get some armor smiths, but unfortunately they both had identical trades. Like, they both sold the same stuff, which is extremely frustrating because it took me a while to get these ones. So what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to have to cure another one just to get a chest plate because, well, I mean, I guess I can go mining, but I feel like curing a villager is easier than going mining. So the next thing I am going to do is I'm going to at least try to get a chest plate, and then I will be back probably to enchant. My little gamble with a third armor smith actually paid off. He sold both chest plates and leggings, so I think the next thing I'm gonna want to do is head over to my blaze farm where I have a fully functioning enchanter and go get all this gear enchanted. Alright, so this is the blaze farm from earlier. As you can see, it has changed a bit just for efficiency wise, but this is the current enchanting setup I put right next to the blaze farm. And so basically my next plan of action is just to enchant using this stuff to try and get some some really good armor, which is something I don't really have access to this early on in game. Like this. This is a really good chest plate. I don't even think I need another one on top of this. So I'm going to keep doing this for a little while, seeing how lucky I get as far as enchantment wise, and I will see you guys then. It's so much better. I've gotten myself some really good armor that I think will pair pretty well with what I'm going to be pretty much doing for the rest of the series, which is essentially just surviving. So my next plan of action is probably to get some netherite. Okay, so now I have full netherite, obviously. But I think for the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually expand my house in some way, just because as I was going netherite mining, I realized I was running really low on storage, and that's something I need to fix, or else I'm just going to be having that problem for the rest of pretty much the rest of the week, and that's not a good thing, because obviously I don't want to run out of storage, because I can have less stuff, and I like stuff. So I'm going to go work on that right now. Okay, so my plan for the storage container that I'm going to be doing for this house in particular is going to be some silos that are going to go here, here, and probably here. One for probably stones like cobblestone, andesite, blackstone, some for wood types, and one for riches because I'm so rich. No, that one will probably just be miscellaneous, but essentially it's just going to be like 2 or 3 silos that are going to be filled with chests and a hopper system that will take it through to the bottom of the chest. And that's really it. That's all I'm going to be doing for the silos. But it will be quite the project, and I think it will look great at the end of it. Okay, so this is the bare bones of the system. So essentially, I'm going to have a ladder that leads up to the top of the silo. I can put whatever I want in those barrels, and they'll funnel down to the bottom, which I can enter and open that chest and get my items out, and there'll be a ladder on the side that allows me to access the inside of all these chests. It's a really simple design. It was surprisingly pricey just because of the chests and the actual hoppers, but I think it's going to work out quite well, and I shouldn't run out of storage anytime soon. So I think it's about time we start actually building these things. Alright, so this is the completed silos. They're not the best looking. For some reason I couldn't get the blackstone slabs to look quite just right on there. They're pretty simple, actually very simple. They're essentially just some spruce towers with some cobblestone on them. Pretty ugly to match its surroundings. And inside they're just, well, I sorted them myself, nothing special. We got wood based in here, stone based in here, and random items in here. Now it's, like I said earlier, simple design, small input in there, and it all kind of just falls down to the bottom. Nothing really special there. So unfortunately, I think that's all I have for today's video. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.